Hey everybody, my name is Daniel Marino and this is Karate Thoughts. So I have been a karate practitioner since I was a child. I've been a karate teacher for my entire adult life, and this is just a weekly series that I do where I take questions in the comment section, I answer them in each week's video. So we got one good question last week, and let's get to it. It's a user named Pablo Fernandez 3656, and this is the second week in a row actually that he's asked a question, so I appreciate that. And he just asked, what is the most important supplemental training one should do as a martial artist? For instance, strength training, yoga, cardio. So I'm going to do my best to speak to this. I do my best to be I try to be the best athlete that I can be, but this is not, again, not an area that I have much expertise. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about my own training and the things that I do to supplement the martial arts specific stuff that I do. So I would, I've never really done yoga, so I won't speak to that. But most of my supplemental training is cardio and strength training based. So to give you a little bit of a little bit of a cop-out answer, maybe you could say, I would say just both. I think if you want to be the best martial artist that you can be, you should be doing both of those things. You should, martial arts by itself, I don't think really is enough to develop and strengthen your body. I think you should be doing some form of cardio and some form of strength training to supplement it. Now, I don't have a very intensive approach to this. I just try to do something to exercise between 30 and 45 minutes a day. I also, of course, sometimes I'll do jujitsu, sometimes I'll of course train with my students quite a lot. So there are class environments that I take where I'm doing a lot of martial arts, but just as a daily thing, I try to do really between 30 and 60 minutes, of training a day. But, often it's more like 45 minutes of training that I'll do. And that will involve something like bag work, which is directly related to martial arts, or forms, kata, hyung, whatever term you use for them, or shadow boxing, slow kicking. These are all things I'll do as a regular part of my training. But then I'll also do something for cardio, I'll do like a 2-mile run or something like that, or I'll do 10 minutes of jump rope to improve my cardio. I do a lot of calisthenic exercises as well, things just push-ups, squat jumps, burpees, which may be more strength training based, but of course with an element of cardio involved in that stuff too, depending on the exercise. And I also lift weights. I have kettlebells at home that I use for different exercises, and I have, sets of weights at the school that I'll use for different exercises, and nothing special, nothing crazy, just squats, presses, rows, flies, stuff like that, just your basic exercises. Now, something else that I do though, because I deal with pretty serious injuries that I train with all the time, is I do a lot of physical therapy. So a lot of the exercises that I do are meant specifically to improve my balance and stability in my legs, because I have an issue in one of my knees, and the strength and stability in my shoulders, because I have an issue in one of my shoulders. So, for the shoulders especially, I'll do a lot of things with TheraBands, with, a lot of different exercise just meant to get, the range of motion with my shoulder and keep everything strong. Definitely helps it to stay stable. I'll do a lot of variations with different exercises for my knees that are specifically meant to develop balance. So stuff like a lot of stuff on one leg, like I'll do one-legged squats where I change the position of my body as I'm squatting to create kind of like rotational pressure in my knee. So I'm strengthening it, in different directions, different planes of motion. I'll do, just a lot of exercise. And the interesting thing that I found with the things that I do to keep my knees stable is that it's actually really helped with my kicking. I have incorporated it quite a bit into my teaching with my students, because so much of it is just these different exercises. And I worked with a doctor of physical therapy on this. I did some sessions with him. He works in a, I'm forgetting his name, unfortunately. I'm so sorry at the moment, but he works in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania, at a facility called Primal Physical Therapy. I couldn't suggest them more highly. They're very, very good. He just, when I first went there and started working with them, they just gave me exercises that I could incorporate into my routine that would specifically, strengthen my legs for stability. And obviously, this is just a big part of kicking. So I've incorporated a lot of those exercises into my classes and what I teach with my students. So, just to summarize, I would say that I think both strength training and cardio are very, very important for martial artists. I think everybody should be doing those things in addition to your more specific martial arts training. I also think that for coming from a karate perspective, these things are traditional as well. You had Hojo Undo, it's part of Okinawan karate, and just generally means like conditioning of all kinds. So that can mean like hitting the makiwara and stuff. So you could consider bag work even to be a part of your conditioning routine. But it was definitely a part of karate originally, just strength training, and it was of course different back then. They didn't have modern equipment to work with, so a lot of the Hojo Undo kind of training that some people still do today involves things like lifting rocks, and they have different equipment like a chuishi, which is just a pole with a weight on the end. It's very good for strengthening your wrists and stuff like that. And I've never used that myself, although I would like to in the future. I've done some stuff with steel maces that's kind of similar. They also have, I forget the term for it, they have kind of a weight that's very similar to a modern kettlebell. So I would argue that martial artists in the past definitely understood this. It's kind of a very common misconception that you have that still somehow gets spread in martial arts today, that it's like strength doesn't matter, athleticism doesn't matter, technique is everything, and that's just not true. You should, there is, of course, an importance in technical ability, and I do think that if you have good technical ability, you can probably outfight someone who's significantly stronger than you and a significantly better athlete than you. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try to be the best athlete that you can. Strength does matter. Athleticism does matter. Those things do affect do affect your overall ability quite a bit, and if you don't have that general athleticism, it's going to be much more difficult for you to develop your technique to a high level. So it might be different in some cases where you have martial artists who at some point in the past developed their technique to a very high level, but maybe aren't in as good of shape today. But I would say especially for people who are actively training and trying to develop their technical ability, which I guess we all should continually do, you definitely should not neglect your athleticism. I did for many years. I don't come from a very athletic family. When I was younger, I didn't like sports. I didn't consider myself an athlete despite being a martial artist. A martial artist even that competed specifically in a lot of competitions when I was growing up. I still just didn't really think of it as a sport or of myself as an athlete. And I wish that I had, because I think it would have made me better. I think when I was a teenager and in my early 20s, I really neglected a lot of my athleticism. But I have been better about it into my mid-20s, and now I'm in my early 30s still. I think I've been a lot better, a lot more consistent about it. And consistency really, I think, is one of the most important things to consider with this, that I feel like I improved a lot as an athlete and as a martial artist when I just became very determined just to be consistent, so I do something every day. Sometimes life gets crazy and I don't have a lot of time, or I'm not managing my time particularly well. I might only exercise for 20 minutes, but 20 minutes is better than nothing. 10 minutes is better than nothing. 5 minutes is better than nothing. Just do something every day. And I always found that it's like getting started is the hardest part. Like once you get started, it's often a lot easier to keep going. I might be like, oh, I really don't feel up to it today, I'll just do a 30-minute workout. Most of the time when I do that, by the time I get to that 30-minute mark, I just keep going and I do 45 minutes or I do 60 minutes. Just be disciplined about being consistent and doing something every day. And if you do that, you don't need to kill yourself every day, but you just need to always be doing stuff. It will really improve the overall quality of your practice. It's what I tell my students, what I tell people all the time, is that it really changed my training and it changed my lifestyle for the better when I just decided that it's just going to be something that's a part of my life, that every day I will exercise. I may not do a lot, but I'll do something every day, and it helped a lot. There's pitfalls with that too, of course. If you're only ever doing like 30 minutes a day, if you're kind of always doing the bare minimum, you're still not going to be the best athlete that you can be, but you'll be in a better place than you would be without it. So that would be my suggestion. Just be consistent, do something every day, make yourself, try to be the best athlete that you can be. And really, you should see this as something that is very much an important part of your martial arts training. So thank you very much for the question, Pablo. For everybody, following the channel, please, if you have any questions or comments about this topic, leave them below. If you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover next week, please leave them in the comments below. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.